Thanks for joining me with another delve deeper, this time into lesson number 17 in our study of the book of the Revelation. The abyss is the temporary place of punishment for disobedient angels. The book of Enoch, that had so much influence between the writings of the Old and the New Testament, gives us a much more detailed description of the abyss. Now, we can call disobedient angels demons. That's all right. John describes these demons as locusts. There's a king, and John calls that king the angel of the abyss, Abadon and Apollyon. Now, we know the times in which John is writing, there is already some areas of the Roman Empire that is intensely persecuting Christians. So there's this political background that informs John's message to these believers. John doesn't come right out and name the Roman Empire as the leader of the locusts. That would be considered sedition or insurrection and likely lead to John's untimely death. So John had to be cautious and use figurative language to inform his readers. John is referencing current events and using symbolic language to critique the oppressive Roman rule. Now, having made the case that the locust stings create despair, we need to get a glimpse of how that can apply to the Roman Empire. Well, conquest by the Roman legions was often brutal. Massacres and enslavement was often inflicted upon the losers. And in any conflict, that would bring a lasting sense of fear and despair for the conquered. Many of the cultures conquered by Rome lost their independence, local governments were dismantled, and Roman laws and language were imposed. Taxes could be crushing. Native customs and religions were suppressed. And if you were not a Roman citizen, you lacked control over your very life. Slave labor was heavily relied upon in the empire. The inequality between the Roman citizen and the slave was a source of despair for that conquered people. Prolonged forced labor and deprivation can destroy hope and make a person desire to die. Is it possible that John is telling us that any government that rejects the rule of God becomes oppressive, destroying the very foundations that brought prosperity, leading its citizens into despair? If so, then John is weaving actual historical situations into his message to the churches. And that gives us insight to what follows.